Hey y'all, welcome back to our final episode of Discussions with Dr. G for Community Health Nursing. It's me, Dr. G here, and yes, we're diving straight into one of the most uplifting topics in community health, violence in the community. So buckle up. First things first, let's actually define what we're talking about because it's not just bar fights and movie villains. The World Health Organization puts it pretty blunt. Violence is the intentional use of physical force or power. Yeah, that's real or even just threatened. Against yourself, someone else, or an entire community. And get this, it doesn't have to be physical. If it results in or is likely to result in physical, psychological, or developmental harm, it's violence. Full stop. So, why are we talking about this in nursing and not leaving it to Judge Judy or the police department? Here's the deal. Violence is a public health crisis, not just a legal one. We see the long, sometimes lifelong, effects on people's development, mental health, and even physical chronic disease. Violence delays normal growth. It throws folks into health disparities, and honestly, for some communities, it can feel almost normal. And that's connected to something a lot of people forget: cultural context. What's acceptable behavior totally depends on where, when, and who you are. For example, I grew up in a home where negotiating meant talking over someone louder and faster than anyone else, which, trust me, only half worked on my older brother. I thought ducking flying remote controls was just family dynamics. Spoiler alert, not every family's like that. And not all behaviors are safe or healthy or legal. Those social norms change, and what was normal then might definitely not fly now. And that's important for us as nurses because we can't separate what's happening in the clinic from what's gone on in a person's world, their family, or their community. So let's talk prevention, and yeah, you're going to see this 100 times on NCLEX, so please pay attention. Nurses are not just the patch it up and move on crew. We're at the front lines of violence prevention at every single level. There's primary prevention, which is this dreamland where violence never even happens because we're promoting positive parenting, teaching conflict resolution, advocating for safer communities and workplaces, all that stuff that sounds like a public service announcement, but actually works long term. Then there's secondary prevention. Think fast action. This is about recognizing when people are at risk or already caught up in violence. Screening is huge here. Tools like HITS, hurt, insult, threaten, scream, or HARK, humiliation, afraid, rape, kick, for intimate partner violence. Observing for weird injury patterns, nonverbal please help me cues, and honestly, just that gut feeling you get after enough of these cases. We also have a legal and ethical obligation for things like suspected child abuse or elder abuse. You name it. Mandatory reporting, folks. Facts, not proof. If you have a suspicion, you file. Period. Full stop. End of discussion. Follow your state laws and institutional rules and don't try to play detective. That is out of your scope of practice. Now, tertiary prevention is all about healing, right? Rehab, therapy, breaking that ugly intergenerational cycle of violence, family therapy, support groups, rebuilding lives. This is where trauma-informed care kicks in. Supportive, non-judgmental, and letting the client lead their own process, which, let me tell you, leads perfectly into a quick story. We had a client, let's call her Maria, who came in quietly covering an arm I could see was bruised. Didn't want to make eye contact. Instead of grilling her, my colleague listened to her, validated Maria's fears, and offered support without demanding details. She helped Maria build a safety plan and got her safely connected to resources, all without making her feel judged or trapped. That is the heart of good nursing in your community. All right. So how does someone end up at higher risk for experiencing or committing violence? Enter the social ecological model, which sounds fancy, but basically is a way of looking at all the layers that have affected us: individual, relationship, community, society. At the individual level, you're talking age, gender, socioeconomic status, past trauma. Relationships, family conflict, caregiver stress, exposure to violence at home. The community side? Well, if you've got poverty, unemployment, unsafe housing, and no good support systems, it's a recipe for disaster. Then you zoom out even further and you see that societal layer. When social norms actually support violence, or structural inequalities and discriminatory policies make things harder for certain groups. Think about policies that limit access to resources, or the ways certain communities just get dumped on time and time again. Real world example. I had a discussion with my class about how easy it is to miss the new flavors of violence, like cyberbullying. It isn't always a black eye or a broken bone. Sometimes it's nonstop messages destroying a kid's self-worth or self-esteem with rumors that drive someone out of schools. As nurses, if we're only looking for old signs, we're missing where the real hurt is happening right now. At the end of the day, addressing violence means seeing the full web, not just the tip of the iceberg. So next time you're in clinical and someone brushes off odd behavior, ask yourself, are we looking wide enough? All right, that's all for today's wild ride. Glad I could keep you guys super excited. Y'all be good. Keep your heads up and remember, nurses are in fact the real watchdogs when it comes to building healthier and safer communities. It's been an absolute pleasure talking about the finer and more critical points of community health nursing with you. Now go and crush your exams. Until next time, this is Dr. G signing off for now.